I want to talk a little bit about policy because leading up to the convention, Kamala Harris teased and then dropped like her economic policy.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting more news, more info on what would actually be the reality if all circumstances were perfect for her policies to be passed, if we had and when we have a Kamala Harris presidency. So she's going to address food prices and inflation. She's promising to, in her first 100 days in office, put federal limits on price gouging food.
Right.
I mean, my milk is expensive.
For sure.
My eggs at my supermarket, $12.
Uh-huh.
They're organic, but still.
Girl, you got to go somewhere else.
I'm going to go to the farmer's market. No, they're literally price gouging. Like, my supermarket is like the example of price gouging.
I think that it has been emphasized throughout and has been a common theme. And it's just like known that if there is a weakness for the Democrats in 2024, it's around the economy. And it's specifically because people do not know or understand where Democrats stand on some of the issues. And that's what they're trying to, I think, break through on, is that like there is a plan in place that's very aggressive to help the middle class. I have not heard such an emphasis on the middle class in recent sort of months or years or from the RNC, but there's a very palpable focus here on labor and on policies that are going to help the middle class.
Yeah. Some more. She's calling for the construction of 3 million new housing units, which would ease the very serious, very real housing crisis in this country. Also, this one is exciting. $25,000 in down payment assistance to help turn renters into first-time home buyers. $25,000, that is a huge chunk in a down payment for many, many Americans.
Oh, absolutely.
She wants to expand the child tax credit, so restore the child tax credit to the pandemic era American Rescue Plan levels.
Which cut child poverty in half.
Thank you.
And until Republicans blocked it from being extended, I think along with Joe Manchin, we had made the fastest progress in eliminating child poverty in this country that we have ever.
Here's one that I really liked that she announced was the $6,000 tax credit for newborns. And you think, Republicans, you made this point on your Instagram, which I think cuts right to the point, are pro-birth, they're not pro-life, because Republicans want to cut child tax credits. They have never once offered a tax credit for newborns. So what are you actually doing to help American families bring children into this world?
Right. They do not want to make it easier to form the kind of family that you want, obviously like via things like IVF or via social programs that can actually facilitate the kind of family formation that they espouse to support, right? That they pretend to support. Instead, they just want to like take away birth control and just hope that it brings America's birth rate up. They're obsessed with the birth rate.
So weird.
And it's all very weird. And it shows the sort of empty promise of their solutions that, again, it's not about like helping the people who are struggling through the challenges. It's about sort of putting forth ideological boogeymen.
Climate change. Remember last episode, the unhinged woman talking about, air quotes, climate change and how it's like about birth?
Right. Population control.
Now, when I think of climate change, I immediately think of population control, don't you?
Yeah, no, babe. The planet's just literally on fire. Okay, this one is a little wonky, and I don't think it's actually good policy. This was like 6 weeks ago. Trump was like doing one of his rallies in Nevada, where obviously there's a ton of hospitality workers. He's like, I'm going to cut tax on tips. You're not going to get tax on your tips anymore.
So this is the first time I've said this, and for those hotel workers and people that get tips, you're going to be very happy. Because when I get to office, we are going to not charge taxes on tips, people making tips.
And, I'll hand it to Kamala Harris. She said, same.
And eliminate taxes on tips for service and hospitality workers.
100%.
She's like, me too.
I mean, that is for those who are looking for Dems to play hardball politics. That's what that is.
Yeah.
That's like, okay, if you're going to make shit up in order to try to like dupe these workers into voting for you, then like I'll support the same policy.
We'll do it too. Let's just tax millionaires and billionaires fairly.
Which is like also a key component of the plan, right? And they talked about that as well. I think that the policy rollout has been strong, and the messaging throughout the convention has been really consistent. It's super union focused. We've seen a lot of representation from labor. It's been very focused on reproductive rights, on protecting democracy from Donald Trump.
Economy, chips.
Absolutely.
Joe Biden last night talking about the chips, bring the chips back.
The chips.
Yeah. I only started learning about chips recently. I don't know why. I was like in a chip hole, and I realized that we actually invented chips in America, and then we shipped all of the manufacturing abroad.
Right.
Which is like, what?
Doesn't make any sense.
But we're bringing it back. Joe Biden is bringing the chips back.
Yeah.
Everyone has a chip. Like, it's in your phone, it's in your computer, it's in this microphone.
It is weird how Donald Trump loves to talk about like import-export deficits, and then Joe Biden's the one who like fixing them.
Actually does it.
But like no one talks about it when Biden does it. You've heard me repeatedly, I have said that there are two types of people left in America: the people who love Donald Trump and everybody else.
Yeah.
And so in order to unify the everybody else, I do think that Harris needs to address media concerns, or whoever's sort of concerned about that, even voter concerns about like what the specific platform is. And we just need to give people a vision and a direction that she's going to move in with Congress, not a 72-point policy plan that is like make or break for voters, because we know that that's not what people vote based on.
Well, I think just in terms of timeline, like we know that the DNC is literally the week of vibes. That's the whole point. It is our rallying cry and like upward swing of momentum and energy. So I think as we look to next week and the following, we're going to be getting more and more from Harris on what her administration would look like.
I think that's spot on.
Sign me up.